Hello everyone, myself Mitanshi Panchal and I am from Shah company. Today I am going to conduct a technical session on bank stock audit. In this session we will learn about objectives, procedures and technical aspects of bank stock audit. Now let's start with introduction. What is bank stock audit? Bank stock audit is a systematic verification of inventory and book debts which are financed by bank to borrower to ensure that they exist, they are accurately valued and comply all the regulatory requirements. Now, who conducts bank stock audit? Bank stock audit is conducted by auditor or a firm of chartered accountants. Who appoints them? The lending bank itself appoints the chartered accountants or the firm of chartered accountants. Why bank stock audit is so much important? Bank stock audit is important as it ensures the safety of interest of finance of banks and ensures the collateral security, detects discrepancies and supports regulatory requirement. Applicability of bank stock audit. Now, when bank stock audit is applicable? Normally it is applicable when the working capital limit of the borrower exceeds Rs 5 crore. This threshold limit may vary from industry to industry or bank to bank. Now there are certain circumstances in which bank stock audit is also applicable. First one, in case of irregularities. What kind of irregularities in which bank stock audit is applicable? So, when the borrower overdraws from his sanction limit, in that case bank stock audit is applicable. When the borrower does not submit or continuously delay in submitting his bank stock statement report to the bank, in such situation also bank may conduct bank stock audit. When the account of the borrower shows NPA, when the account of borrower slightly turns into non-performing asset, in that situation also the bank may conduct bank stock audit. Last, nature of business or industry. When nature of business or industry. What kind of business or industry in which bank stock audit is normally conducted? In case of FMCG goods industry, gems or jewelry industry, or in case of export or import of industry, in such type of industry, bank may conduct bank stock audit. New borrower or first time sanction. When the borrower is new or the bank is sanctioning for the first time to the borrower, in that situation, bank also conduct bank stock audit. Scope of bank stock audit. Now, what are the things included in bank stock audit? First, physical verification of stock records verification, collateral adequacy assessment, insurance verification, etc. are the things which are included in bank stock audit. Responsibility of auditor in bank stock audit. Now, what is the responsibility of auditor for conducting the bank stock audit? First, the audit plan. The auditor is required to make a systematic audit plan to conduct a smooth and systematic audit. Physical stock verification. The auditor is compulsorily required to visit the location where the stock of the borrower is stored. Third, risk identification and reporting. The auditor is required to identify the risk and report on that. Understanding the internal control system of borrower. The auditor is required to understand the whole internal control system of the borrower, how it works, if it is manufacturing concern, how the manufacturing process is going on, how the stocks are stored and how they are dispatches, etc. Preparation of audit report. After executing the whole audit procedure, the auditor is required to prepare the audit report and submit it to the bank. Pre-audit preparation. What kind of preparation we need to do before conducting the audit? First is preparing audit plan. The auditor is required to prepare the whole audit plan. What kind of things can be included in audit plan? So when the physical stock verification can be conducted, what are the team members, when the team has to go to physical location of the stock where the stock is kept. Understanding the borrower's business. Before conducting the audit, the auditor is required to understand the borrower's business so that risk assessment can be done and it helps in executing the whole audit procedure. Prepare required formats and checklists. The auditor is required to prepare the whole audit checklist so that it can help in executing the audit. It helps in prioritizing the things which are need to be checked first. Study compliance requirement. The auditor is required to study the compliance requirement which has to be complied by the borrower, so that the auditor needs to report at the end. Audit execution. Physical verification of stock. So the auditor is required to physically verify the stock. In that verification, the auditor has to also check if there are any WIPs and how the valuation of such WIPs are conducted. Document verification. What kind of documents are to be verified by the auditor? Stock register, purchase and sales invoices, monthly stock statements which are submitted by the borrower to the bank, etc. Reconciliation with books. The auditor is required to reconcile his books and the stock which is physically located at his godown or the place where the stock is kept. Reconcile with purchase and sales quantities. The auditor is also required to reconcile the whole purchase and sales quantity during the period which audit is conducted. Verification of valuation of stock. The auditor is required to verify that valuation of stock is correct or not, which method is followed, if the method is followed, is it followed consistently or not. Verification of debtors or creditors aging. The auditor is required to verify debtors or creditors aging, so that it helps in calculating the drawing power. Common red flags to be observed by the auditor. There are certain common red flags which are to be observed by the auditor during executing the whole audit procedure. First is if there is an increase or decrease in stock. Inventory is stored at multiple locations, so the disclosure is given or not. If the inventory is hypothecated with multiple banks, with disclosure of such things is also given or not, has to be observed by the auditor. Drawing power calculation. Now, what is drawing power? Drawing power is the maximum limit up to which the borrower can borrow. How the drawing power is calculated? When the eligible stock is added to the eligible debtors, we get drawing power. What is eligible stock? Eligible stock is the total stock from which the margin of bank is deducted and the sundry creditors from purchase are deducted. And what are eligible debtors? Eligible debtors are those debtors from which the margin of bank is deducted, less the debtors which have been due from very long period are also deducted. Now, what happens if the borrower overdraws from his drawing power limit? In such case, the bank may levy penal interest on such borrower. Why penal interest is levied? Because the borrower is drawing such amount which is not financed by his security. Now, what are the reports to be submitted by the borrower? Stock audit report. Whole the procedure of audit is conducted. At the end, the stock audit report is to be prepared and submitted to bank. Stock statement verification report. In this report, we have to comment that we have physically verified the stock and the stock is accurately recorded as per the stock statement submitted to bank. Executive summary report. The whole audit procedure is conducted and there are no discrepancies, or if there are any discrepancies are found, in this report we have to give that. Drawing power calculation report. In this report, we have to submit the drawing power calculated by the auditor and the drawing power calculated by the borrower. It is to be submitted to the bank only. Thank you very much.